Well, hello, pop pickers, rockers, fans of classic rock and music in general. Welcome to this latest edition of my vinyl from the vault. This time I'd like to focus on some pieces of vinyl from my collection from British new wave punk and post punk band The Stranglers. Now this is particularly, I put this video together particularly for my friend Courtney of It's Courtney's collection of Oddballs. Link to her channel will be in the description. She's a great streamer. She's done a number of streams with me and she's really into her music and knows her stuff. And unlike most North American fans of music, she is aware of the Stranglers, who never made, to my knowledge, commercially a dent in the US. They were primarily British, European, and Australian success. But I'd like to talk a little bit about them first, and then I'll show you some of the vinyl that I would like to refer to. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the Stranglers and their background. So the Stranglers were from a band from Guildford in London area, originally called the Guildford Stranglers, and they were part of the what was known in Britain as the pub rock scene, as were a number of people who went on to great success in the punk era, such as Ian Dury, Joe Strummer, and the pub rock scene was full of bands like Dr. Feelgood, Dux Deluxe, Nick Lowe, many acts that are dear to my heart to this day. And it was a burgeoning scene based around playing small venues around the country, doing independent labels, releases, very much a do-it-yourself scene, hence the term pub rock, alongside what was happening at the time with the major metal bands and prog rock and all the bigger, and everything was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. These guys were meat and potatoes, playing in the pubs, and a variety of styles, rock and roll, reggae, soul, funk, blues, rootsy, pop. There was all sorts of styles mixed up within these bands, and as I say, it's particularly bands like Dr. Feelgood, or one of my favourite bands of all time, came out of that, but a lot of the new wave guys, and the Stranglers were one of those. So from playing that scene, they pretty quickly jumped on what became the punk, and I hesitate to say bandwagon, the punk movement. And this really suited them because their style had been more aggressive and loud, even in that pub rock era. Band comprised of, on drums, Jet Black, sadly no longer with us. Jean-Jacques Burnel on bass, the Barracuda bass, a very distinctive, loud, reverberating, deep bass, beautiful sound, and can't mistake his bass sound from anybody else. And he's the only original band member still in the band. On guitar and lead vocals, Hugh Cornwell, who is luckily still with us today in corporeal form and still playing and recording solo stuff. And Dave, who is the keyboard player now. One thing that marked the Stranglers out, although they had this very, very new wave, loud sound and very aggressive sound, as their later releases like Golden Brown and other such hits showed, they were actually extremely good musicians, particularly the keyboard playing, which was the main feature of the band. Hugh Cornwell's guitar was very much, I thought, subordinate to the keyboard playing of Dave, who's just was absolutely phenomenal, tinkling the ivories there. So here's a great shot of them from it's actually courtesy the Surrey Advertiser, of them warming up and doing a sound check for a gig in the late 70s. As you can see, they were a good looking bunch, very likely to hit the pop magazines and be pop idols. As you can see, a little bit older than perhaps some of the other punk contemporaries, but none the worse for that. Stranglers No More Heroes is actually I've kind of lied a little bit when I said this is 78 singles, because the first single that I'd like to talk about is really from 1977. And this is actually the lead track and single of the No More Heroes album by the Stranglers. And this is the 7-inch single edit of that. I love the little wreath at the bottom there. The B-side of this, though, I guess I can get away with, because In the Shadows did turn up on the black and white album in 1978. No More Heroes was a 1977 release, really got them a lot of attention, big hit single in No More Heroes. I very much like the artwork in the center of the record with the wreath theme. And then on the B side, a slightly different with their Stranglers logo on United Artists there. So I lied a little bit. That one's from 1977. So, but still a fantastic slab of noise. No More Heroes. Just a fantastic intro at the beginning, which just kicks off, and it's 110 miles per hour from there. So, going back to the releases, 1978 is the year I want to focus on now, and some of the material from the black and white album, but others were actual singles that were never seen on anything else. So you can see the front cover there, black and white, and a little single we're going to talk about, which is the white vinyl giveaway with that. So if I just stop sharing that right now, forgive me while I fiddle with my screens. Yeah, so 1977, the Stranglers had seen a succession of slightly, getting larger British hits, Grip, Beaches, Something Better Change, No More Heroes. And then 1978, they entered the charts with a non-album single, 5 minutes, not found on any album other than compilations. Great. I love this particular single because it's got the full lyrics in the back and the B-side Rocket to the Moon. So always great to get the lyrics on a single. And again, with that distinctive Stranglers, a slightly more techno logo than their older one here on this particular one. I find the Stranglers logo on this looks a little bit more technology oriented. So that single 5 minutes never appeared on a original album release. Again, a slab of noise, very fast, very loud, very ferocious, but with fantastic musicianship in there. I urge you to check that one out if you can find it on YouTube. Then saw the release of the black and white album 1978, and the first release from that, which did crack the charts in top 20 in Britain, didn't do quite as well as some of the other previous singles, possibly because of things like this. So this is Nice and Sleazy, which shows a rather, possibly something like the Black Dahlia on the front. Murder scene possibly did a little bit to harm its sales as a single. However, the track itself, if you listen to it, was a little bit less frenetic than some of the early tracks, a little more sort of almost a choppy reggae guitar riff, and the very interesting lyric around coming out of the desert and various other things. So very worth listening to. The B-side, Shut Up, is again a track doesn't appear anywhere else. It's rather frenetic, like 1 minute's worth of noise. But some interesting artwork of the band, which reflects the black and white album cover on the back of the single. And again, nothing particularly distinctive around the the B-side is 1 minute and 6 seconds. Nothing particularly distinctive around the record itself in terms of vinyl. It's just another great little 7-inch single. More back to the more traditional Stranglers font on this one. Nice and Sleazy, a really nice, choppy, reggae-esque sound with, again, that fantastic keyboard sound that the band had. That was on the album Black and White. But given away with that album, and if I go back to the previous photo that we had up, and let me just... There we go. Sorry about this. Doing this more live style today. So album Black and White, which was a fairly substantial hit in the UK, and really saw a little bit move of starting to see the band's musical prowess appearing, a little bit of what they call possibly the first post-punk album, where they certainly aggressive attitude and a lot of aggressive sounds on there, but started to branch out into different musical time signatures, different themes, moving more towards their almost some of their later singers like Golden Brown almost could be seen as jazzy or baroque. They gave away 75,000 copies. The album contained a special white vinyl 3-track single, of which the A-side was the old Baccarat David Dionne Warwick hit Walk On By, a fantastic 6+ minutes version of that song, which is actually really beautiful when you hear it. Yeah, it's it's a lot more rocked up than the original, obviously, but is a fantastic, heartfelt version of the song. They're by no means mocking it. They absolutely make a lovely version of it with that beautiful bass, swirling keyboards. So yeah, the single, first 75,000 copies of the album came with that single, a little white vinyl 3-track single with Mean to Me, and the third track being a song called Tits, which clearly I wasn't going to get a lot of radio play, but featured the rather sleazy sound and lyrics that the band sometimes liked. Now, it's hard to see in here, but there's actually a little sticker on this which says this record has been given free with the black and white album, and if it's offered for sale anywhere, call not call this number, but write to this address and they will be dealt with, which I've always thought was the most fabulous message. Whether or not anybody ever was dealt with, I don't know, but luckily I got my copy out of the album. So white vinyl, Walk On By. Love this. This is a well-protected record in my collection. Still plays beautifully, and as I say, 6-minute plus version. Now, they eventually released a separate single of Walk On By, which did make the British top 30. Possibly the fact 75,000 copies had been given away for free didn't help its sales, but still a fantastic record. And that really was the... excuse me while I close the window. That was the 1978 singles collection of the Stranglers. In the UK, anyway. 5 minutes, nice and sleazy, Walk On By. And then from then on, as I say, they moved more from it into a post-punk world. The next single in 79, Duchess, was very much more certainly not quiet sound, but more contemplative lyric and a very sophisticated, much more sophisticated sound, particularly in the keyboard side, as I've mentioned. So Dave Greenfield's keyboard playing is just phenomenal. It's certainly not on par with a 3-chord punk band in any means or shape or form. But they were all excellent musicians and great band. Always a fantastic love of them. They were huge for me in the late 70s alongside those other new wave and punk bands. So that's the Stranglers. Please check those records out. You can see clips of them all on YouTube and listen to them all. Great. And if you get the albums No More Heroes, Black and White, or even the first album they released, Ratus Norvegicus, these are all seminal releases in late 70s British punk and new wave. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please check out some of my other music-related content and my other content in general, indeed. Like and subscribe. Appreciate it very much. Hopefully see you again soon. Until then, keep on rocking.